I got a cross, you got a cross, all about you got a cross. But when we get to heaven, gonna lay down the cross, gonna shout all over.
The Jubilee Singers are a choral ensemble from Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. Fisk University was one of the first African-American liberal arts schools. 5 years after its founding in 1866, the school was experiencing significant financial issues. In order to raise money, George L. White, the treasurer and a music professor, formed a 9-member ensemble and took them on tour. They left for their first tour in October 1871 with the entire university treasury hoping to make some money for the school.
Their first tour went from 1871 to 1872. Their tour started with a major performance in Cincinnati, Ohio. From there, their tour continued around Ohio into other states such as Pennsylvania, Maryland, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Other notable performances in their first tour include the World Peace Festival in Boston and the White House. Their second tour spanned from 1873 to 1874 and was their debut abroad. While they did perform in cities around New York, much of this tour was spent in Great Britain where they performed for Queen Victoria. The third and final notable tour was from 1875 to 1878 and took place exclusively in Europe. They returned to Great Britain and went on to perform in France, the Netherlands, and Germany. After their third tour, they continued to perform in the eastern and northern United States for many years.
At first, they are just a 9-member choral ensemble of students who use music as a way to raise money for their university. But then, they become the presentation in art and culture. The original Jubilee Singers introduced slave songs to the world in 1971 and were instrumental in preserving this unique American musical tradition known as today as Negro spirituals. They broke racial barriers in the U.S. and abroad in the late 19th century and entertained kings and queens in Europe. The first Jubilee Singers continued the tradition of singing the Negro spiritual around the world. This allows the ensemble to set this rich culture globally while preserving this unique music. The story of the first Jubilee Singers can indicate the power of music in black slave survival or selling of a blackness cultivated to the preference of white consumers.
The Fisk Jubilee Singers are an a cappella group, or vocal group, that uses no instrumental accompaniment. They typically use a homophonic musical texture, meaning that they have one main melody line accompanied by other chords. A great example of this is one of their most famous songs they have performed, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. In the recording of their 1909 performance, a group of male singers trades off the melody while the other members accompany him. As the Fisk Jubilee Singers perform, the singers vary the dynamics or the volume of their singing for effect. These dynamic changes are often caused by changes in the voicing of the piece, meaning the group will drop from everyone singing to just a soloist or a small ensemble for a while. Then they will continue to change the number of singers throughout the piece. They also often use a call and response style between the soloist or ensemble and the other members of the group.
I know King Jesus will be mine.
See what the end will be. God made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. I will go, I shall go, to see what the end will be.
Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down.
I will go, I shall go,
but still.
About their repertoire, quoted from a Fisk Jubilee Singer reviewer. Their songs produce a strange, weird effect. They are full of religious earnestness and pathos, and one loses all sense of oddity and the feeling of real and natural piety. Their repertoire was initially introduced as slave songs, and American Negro spirituals. Audiences were excited by concerts being mixes of spirituals and plantation songs, due to the fact they were being concertized for the first time. This genre remains a vibrant musical tradition today. And now playing a small piece on Little David Play on Your Harp.
Play on your harp, hallelujah, hallelujah, David, play on your harp, hallelujah, David, play on your harp, hallelujah, hallelujah, David, play on your harp, hallelujah.
Next, a small part of Peter on the Sea. For a more recent recording, here is a part of Rise, Shine, for Thy Light is a-coming.
Rise, shine, for the light is a-coming. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Oh, rise, shine, for the light is a-coming. Rise, shine, for the light is a-coming. Oh, rise, shine, for the light is.
Oh, the band of Gideon, the band of Gideon, the band of